Yeah, didn't you never not notice that people from up here go down to LA and then they come back up here calling it LA?
Is that what they do?
LA.
LA.
Thank you. LA.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 funniest Letterkenny moments.
McMurray.
Mary, friend,
How are you?
Not bad, good you. Good you, not so bad.
For this list, we can confirm we'll be looking at the funniest gags, lines, chirps, and complaints from the tiny Canadian town. Which Letterkenny moment do you think is the funniest? Pitter patter, let's get at her in the comments. Number 20, Stewarts Horn. While picking stones in a field, Wayne reveals he saw Stewarts Horn, if you catch our drift.
There's been an incident and I'd like to talk about it. Get after it.
So pitter patter, let's get at her.
Spit it out, Big Shoots.
I seen Stewarts Horn.
The Hicks are stunned by this revelation and begin a long chain of euphemisms for said horn. Wayne further explains that he passed a naked Stewart coming out of the bathroom. Curious, the others want to know its size. Wayne compares it to a tall boy can of Red Bull and a few other apt comparisons.
Looked like a tall boy can of Red Bull hanging there.
No.
Looked like a tube of tennis balls hanging there, a 4-pack.
Shut up.
While all the wordplay cracks us up, the best is how happy they are for Stewart's endowment. Katie, on the other hand, is in disbelief that his horn could be so big, and she missed out on a chance to be with him.
A really big dude could have a massive horn, but it would look really small in proportion to his gigantic frame, right?
Have you been reading my diary?
I'll tell you what, it looked like a deflated football hanging there.
Number 19, a hostile tone. While ice fishing in Quebec, the Hick encounter their French-Canadian counterparts. Daryl, who already doesn't like the Belle Province, tells the other group to pipe down.
Didn't they teach you how to pipe down at CJEP?
C'est quoi son problème?
Tensions increase when singer Celine Dion is brought up in a hostile tone. The two groups go on to trade insults despite not being able to understand each other.
Why don't you go snowshoe to the Bell Center to watch back-to-back sold-out Simple Plan shows, then go eat some Montreal smoked meat, you bagel munching rope?
It's a great bit that pokes fun at the cultural divide that exists between English and French-speaking Canadians.
Veux-tu de la ratatouille? On en a!
Confit de canard?
Ou peut-être une petite poutine, hein? Prendrais-tu un petit cassoulet?
Ou du coq au vin?
Yeah, you're a cock on a vine!
You know what, Dan? Sit down.
Fans of the show who live outside of the Great White North don't need a lesson in Canadian politics, because funny is transcendental.
So why don't you go get tricked by a just for laugh gags before you have to hold a referendum to separate my foot from your ass?
Santé!
Number 18, moist. If you don't like how this word sounds, you best plug your ears. While the Hicks rest after chorin', Katie asks Daryl why he's taking his boots off.
Why are you taking your boots off, Derry? Is this a D-Gen convention or what's the scoop?
Well, how hard do you actually work if you don't kick your boots off the second you're through?
Keep those flippers away from me.
His simple explanation is that he doesn't want his feet marinating in his sweaty boots. He worries he could get a toenail fungus due to them being so moist. Katie states she doesn't want to hear that word, so of course the boys begin inserting it into all sorts of phrases.
Don't tell that to the good folks in Moist Jaw, Saskatchewan.
Or the good folks of Mirror-Moisty, New Brunswick, where they love shucking moisters.
Don't forget about Moist Fist, Tennessee's.
The Mississippi's a great river.
You ever been to Moisty Graw?
No, but I've been to the Rocky Moisten Range in the United States of Amoistica.
Fed up with their antics, she pours her beer over their heads. While we understand her frustration, we can't blame the guys for making the moist of a funny situation.
Oh, Jesus.
Watch the smokes.
There you go. Now you're moist.
Number 17, learning to chirp. The town's hockey team, the Irish, have been struggling to get a win this season.
That W, boys.
Gotta have that W, boys.
Gotta want that W, boys.
And the first step to getting it is
beating your opponent mentally.
Riley and Jonesy have a plan to get the W. They tell the team they have to get in their opponent's head by chirping them. At first, they're reluctant because they believe that the scoreboard does the talking.
Talk is for schmelts, you little
Think you're talking on the scoreboard, schmelts.
Oh, okay. Have any of you guys been doing any talking on the scoreboards lately?
Nice stats, no stats.
Riley and Jonesy try to teach them how to chirp, and when the team gives it a try, it doesn't go so well. Bart's, Yorkie, Schultzy, Fisky, and Boomtown have a set way of speaking, so seeing that combined with their poor chirps cracks us up.
Hey, ugly, you little Yorkie.
Look at you. Ugly. Schultzy.
You're ugly. Fisky.
Wow. Ugly.
Number 16, Wrastlin'. After the Hicks take a shot while drinking during happy hour, Squirrely Dan wonders why they tap their glasses 2 times instead of 3, because wrestling matches end with 3 taps.
You ever wonders why we taps twice?
Totally, yeah.
I always thought we should taps 3 times like in wrestling. That's how they finish the match.
Wayne reveals that he prefers fisticuffs to wrestling, and after naming their favorite wrestler, Dan says that he couldn't come up with a good ring name. Of course, this leads to a whole slew of wordplay of possible names.
Dan Bigelow.
Macho Dan.
Could call you Farty Janetti.
And then we could be a tag team like the Rockers.
Oh, that's kind of fun. Okay, so if you're gonna be Farty Janetti, who's Derry?
Shawn Michaels puts a little mustard on that high kick.
Wayne grows tired of the conversation and leaves. It's classic Letterkenny riffing, and even though Wayne is over it, he still drops some good lines.
You might come at this from a different Kurt angle. Acting a bit Mean Gene, putting on a big show. I can't Paul Bearer much more of this conversation.
Number 15, dad noises. When Squirrely Dan gets up to have a pee, he inadvertently sets himself up for a roasting from the rest of the Hicks for making dad noises.
All right, so I'm gonna make you all prouds down by the yellow pond. Yep, I will.
Whoa, Dad.
Hey, Dad.
There you are, Dad.
Dad! Hey, Dad!
Who's the dad?
You are Dad!
Letterkenny is at its best when the gang is able to riff on a theme. In addition to this, they're also able to get in a to be fair when Dan tries to defend himself by saying that other people besides dads make noises when standing up and sitting down.
Now, to be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair.
Lots of people emit sounds when they stands up and sits down, not just dads.
This backfires hilariously, with the gang giving the impression of a dad complaining while getting up and making a dad noise.
Use is hilarious. All my friends are smart Alex.
All my friends
Just a bunch of smart alecks.
Number 14, Everything's Better in LA. While discussing one of Hicks' second cousins moving to Los Angeles to become an actor, Wayne chimes in about how people from LA need to stop talking about tacos.
Hey, you like tacos? Let's get some tacos. You know who's got great tacos? Well, these guys have the best tacos. You like tacos, right? Tacos, tacos, tacos. Venice Beach tacos.
Daryl adds that they also need to stop talking about hiking, and that it's just a fancy word for walking. The conversation soon turns to how people who travel to the City of Angels suddenly think that everything is better there.
And everything's better in LA.
What, never met one of them before? It's all they talk about. What, you've never even been to LA? You have to come to LA. You would love LA.
They even imitate how people from LA sound when they say the word LA. It's a great send-up of how small-town folk perceive people from or who have traveled to the Californian city.
Oh, I hate the weather up here. It's so much warmer in LA.
Oh yeah, didn't you not know it gets just as cold in LA? It's just a different kind of cold in LA. It's desert, you know.
Number 13, you. They say bad gas travels fast in a small town, but racy photos travel faster. Daryl is devastated to find out that his sweetie, a Nick, has a racy Instagram account. When Wayne, Dan, and Katie see the photos, they let out a healthy you.
Well, we are talking Y to the E to the double U.
I'm looking at you.
Come on, give me a big ol' you, boy!
In fact, everyone in Letterkenny has that reaction once news of the account spreads. Daryl decides to drink his pain away, so he heads over to Modine's, but it's too late.
I'll stop the world and melt with you. New York, I love you.
Looks like she's just not that into you.
Bad gas travels faster in small towns, buds.
Sexy photos travel faster, boy. You.
Which we have previously established.
The hockey players are there already, and not only did they let out their yous, they also informed Daryl that everyone in the town has derived pleasure from the photos.
I wailed on it before I got here, but I'd wail on it again. You.
I'm just hammering on it too. But Derry, you!
Scotty Wallace here?
No,
Thought we heard Scotty Wallace. What's the kerfuffle?
Daryl Sweetie's Instagram.
It's ridiculous, but it encapsulates small-town vibes. Number 12, Wayne's sunglasses and Dan is that guy. Wayne's got a bright future, or it would seem that way since he squints so much.
Why are you squinting so much?
Future's bright.
I've been noticing you doing that a lot more recently.
I've noticed you doing it a wee bit more than usual too's, good buddies.
Nah, I think you're squinting just the perfect amount there, good buddy.
Katie comments that he's been squinting a lot and makes him an appointment with an optometrist. After Wayne goes, he gets a pair of prescription sunglasses. When the rest of the Hicks see him, they can't help but roast him.
You playing shortstop or second?
Hey,
Left field?
mind your beeswax.
Little brisk out for beach volleyballs there's, good buddies.
A little warm for 80s night on slopes.
I could shake my head in these all day. They won't come off.
Prove it.
You look like you're about to rip a Tour de France.
Look like Lance Armstrong if he did even more steroid.
The conversation soon turns to Jivin' Pete, who's been showing up late to work. Dan mentions that Pete tried to show him a nude, but because Dan's a feminist, he refused to look. He gets called out for being that guy.
Tried to show me a nude of a gal he had on his phone, and I said, I, sirs, am a feminist.
Don't be that guy.
Yeah, definitely don't be that guy.
While we love good wordplay, sometimes a simple call-out is all that's needed. Number 11, the best chip flavor. Tempers run high when residents of Letterkenny discuss what the best chip flavor of all time is in order to win a contest. It becomes clear from the beginning that different characters are projecting different fantasies onto the flavors.
You just want your chips all dolled up and camera ready. I just want a chip to sit on the sofa with. Catch a flick. Shoot the breeze.
Things get heated really quickly a number of times, and it just highlights the silliness of the debate. When Pringles are brought up, all hell breaks loose between Rosie and Stewart, who take views of the chip.
You ever seen a family-sized pack of Pringles? No, because they don't get the same opportunities as other chip. Never did. They excluded themselves from that conversation! Oh!
In the end, it's decided that all dressed is the best flavor when Bonnie McMurray walks in eating a bag of them. However, she probably has the best reaction to the whole situation.
Yo. What the actual is going on here?
Number 10, Wayne's first opponent in the toughest guy competition. In the series premiere, we're told that Wayne's fighting ways have changed due to the influence of his now ex-girlfriend Angie.
After you're dust up over the weekend, safe to assume you're fighting again?
Correct.
10-4, good buddy.
But with that relationship having ended, it's just a matter of time before Wayne reclaims his crown as the toughest guy in the community of Letterkenny.
Sled Ted's here.
First on the list of challengers is Sled Ted, so named for his love of all things snowmobiling. And this scrap has everything: a bangin' soundtrack, degens at the end of the laneway, slow-mo fisticuffs, and a very clear victory for the leader of the Hicks. If you don't know who the toughest guy in Letterkenny is, you'd better check yourself. Number 9, Meeting the Shamrockettes. Feeling directionless in Season 5, Riley and Jonesy agreed to join their old coach in leading a 2-time Hockey League winner.
Let's go! Yeah!
What they don't realize is that it's the local women's team, the Letterkenny Shamrockettes.
What are you two doing?
Sorry, boys. Ladies.
We didn't know you were ladies, boys. Not lady boys. We didn't know you were ladies.
You think the door is open to everyone here?
Their first meeting with the team does not go smoothly, with the girls, ladies, women, not being very inviting. The boys knew going in that the team had a problem with a battle for leadership. They witnessed it firsthand in this scene, where the team leaders, Betty Ann and Mary Ann, take turns chirping each other's mitts, which in this case is not a reference to hockey equipment.
Your mitt looks like I squeezed a cherry red popsicle with a handful of dryer lint.
Meet your new team, pheasants.
Number 8, can a baby be considered smart? There's no telling what subjects might come up at the breakfast table with friends, and this scene is a great example.
The stupidest thing I ever heard in my life is that a baby is smart.
Who but our beloved Hicks would even care if babies can be considered smart? And Nancy's opinion notwithstanding, Wayne is unconvinced, prompting Dan and Daryl to take him on in a battle of wits.
Now what about that suggests I ought to be navigating uncharted neurological pathways in the brain?
Despite Wayne's very well thought out and dramatized arguments, it seems as though this debate is not over. What do yous guys think? Can babies be smart, or is a baby grabbing your thumb just a baby grabbing your thumb? This hot debate may never get sorted, but it's certainly good for a laugh.
You suppose you could make the same argument for a dog, but at least you don't have to wipe a dog's poopy bum, do you?
Number 7. Daryl's super soft birthday party. You do not mess with tradition.
Every year, Daryl's mom used to throw him these birthday parties when he was a kid.
Softest birthday party on planet Earth.
Boy band karaoke, cupcake decoration station, charcuterie.
If Daryl's mom thought it was worthwhile to repeatedly embarrass him with super soft birthday parties throughout his childhood, it only makes sense that his best buddies would continue the tradition into adulthood. What makes a birthday party super soft are things like sweet drinks with silly names, cupcake stations, and farm animals doubling as unicorns.
Derry. Hey, Derry. This one's for you.
This party would surely have been the softest ever had Joint Boy not shown up with his troupe of surly uncles to challenge Wayne's title as toughest guy in Letterkenny.
You're interrupting a party for my best pal that my little sister worked pretty hard to put on. Hold it. May I sort this out now, please?
Goddamn right you may.
Nonetheless, this tradition is so strong that fans of the show sometimes have their own super soft birthday parties. Number 6, the Letterkenny leave.
Maybe it's time to get going.
Agreed.
How do we do that?
When the McMurrays invite you to a party, and that party gets weird, you might need to find a way of escaping. And to be clear, when the McMurrays are hosting, it always gets weird. And so that's when you use the Letterkenny leave.
Guess what?
What?
This very well may call for the old Turkish takeoff.
What's Turkish takeoff?
That's when you pull fire alarm, leave with a stranger.
Guess what?
What?
This very well may call for the old Tokyo Sayonara.
What's Tokyo Sayonara?
Well, that's when you leave, but you only say goodbye to the cat.
In this scene, things are not going smoothly at the McMurray's soiree, and the Hicks discuss possible methods of exiting the party. They end with the Letterkenny leave, which entails walking through a sliding glass door after stealing a case of beer. With the situation not yet being that dire, they decide that it's best to wait and see if things escalate. But they've always got this iconic exit in their back pocket if need be.
I don't think we're there just yet, but you know what? Let's continue to monitor the situation.
Number 5. Shoresy Chirping and Reffing.
Shoresy?
Everyone in Letterkenny would likely agree that, in a world of chirping, Shoresy is the uncrowned champion. After all, he basically exists only to make Riley and Jonesy uncomfortable with his incessant comments about his activities with their respective mothers.
I'd still smash you both if I was bored, but Riley and Jonesy's mums get too jealous. Make yourselves useful, grab me a bag of dill picklers.
The moment that we chose to immortalize on the list, however, is the time Shoresy took a break from reffing a Shamrockettes game to take a few shots of his own. No one is safe when Shoresy gets on a roll, and the chirps may not even be the best part.
Well, your lives are so sad, I get a charity tax break just for hanging out with you. Nice sweep, no sweet, give your balls a tug.
Check out that fancy skating. Shoresy delivers on all levels. Number 4, Daryl and the one-eyed sheet. The people of Letterkenny don't seem to have a clue about their Mennonite neighbors, leading to many absurd claims and theories. In this case, Daryl says that sometimes Mennonites trick unsuspecting gentlemen into impregnating their young women in order to expand the bloodline.
How did you stay out of special ed running with an old wives' tale like
not an
that?
old wives'
Yes,
tale.
it is. That is straight
It's
up
not an old
life
wives'
skills.
tale.
Yes, it is.
It
an old
happened in
wives'
Dickskin.
No, it never.
Yes, it did.
No, it never.
Yes, it did.
Okay, Derry, okay.
According to Jim Dickens, the act must be holy, so it's done through a hole in a sheet, allegedly.
Well, what's with the sheet?
I'm told Schmellies remove all physical and visual contact, aside from penile, vagile, of course, to keep the sex limited to procreation purposes and deter it from becoming a little more English, as they call it.
But when local Mennonite Noah Dick asks for help on his farm, you help him no matter what nefarious plans he might have. The Hicks offer a hand and all is well until Daryl believes he's found evidence that supports their greatest fears. As usual, Daryl is largely mistaken, but boy can those Mennonites run. Number 3, Katie raps about the takedown of Dirks.
Boy, don't say you're sorry. My life's a safari. I'm drinking Campari. I'm playing Atari.
At the end of the 8th season, Katie finds out that her American boyfriend, Dirks, has been stepping out on her. This leads to his season ending, albeit off-camera beatdown. The original spoken word rap that opens season 9, however, tells the story of this savage takedown. The imagery in the poem is striking, with Katie likening herself to a Ferrari and a Targaryen from Game of Thrones.
I'm like a Targaryen, spitting straight up Valerian, out here not carrying, out here Doncharian, you're arbitrary.
arbitrarian, you out there fairy.
Dirks fares far worse, being called a disaster, as a reminder that her crew did indeed amass and put his arm in a cast. When Katie spits, it's equal parts fire and truth.
Only real men get this.
Number 2, Squirrely Dan's romantic experience. The boys were hucking the ball around the other day, and Dan opens up about a recent date with his sweetie. Despite it being stated many times that it's impolite to kiss and tell, Dan does just that.
We did French, that much I will reveal.
According to Dan, his sweetie suggested that she might throw him a curveball betwixt the sheets, as they say. Wayne and Daryl are shocked.
I take that as a hard no, I guess?
They exclude Dan from the ball hucking, even as Dan continues to describe the act, what it entailed, and even how good it felt.
It feels pretty good, you guys, okay?
Pop fly.
I really liked it.
Could be, it really is impolite to kiss and tell after all. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, chirping at a couple of hockey players.
A couple hockey players come up the produce stand the other day.
To think, it all started when some hockey players came up to the produce stand the other day. The initial scene in the series serves brilliantly as an introduction to many of the tropes and jokes the series offers. It has a beautiful and confident Katie cat, a pair of enthusiastic but dumb hockey players, childishly funny wordplay, and the hicks regulating the entire affair.
Oh, my spitter. Tarps off, boys. You looking for a Tilly, buddy? Let's have a Donnybrook!
It also introduced us to such quotables as Treasure Trail, Tilly, and of course Donnybrook. Who among us hasn't handed out some free literature the odd time? Who doesn't enjoy a little tasteful backward pageantry? Welcome to Letterkenny.
This isn't over!
Jenks, you owe me a Coke.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.